What is up there, everybody? Citrus Aviation here with yet another video, and today we have a model airport update, and this one is for my fictional airport, Burlington Central Carolina. Now this airport is located in Burlington, North Carolina, which is in the central portion of the state, right between Raleigh and Greensboro. In fact, it's at the city that's just to the east of Greensboro and Burlington, which is part of that tri-city area, Winston-Salem, Greensboro, and Burlington. High Point is also in that area as well. It's kind of a nice middle ground between Charlotte and Raleigh, nice middle area, and so that's where this airport is located. So it serves a population of approximately 10 million people within an hour to an hour and a half drive of the airport. And so yeah, that's the location of the airport, and this is a November 2021 update, and we've got quite a few interesting things here, starting with this gorgeous Asian aircraft lineup. Yes, those are all Asian 777-300 ERs you can see on the screen, and if you are currently counting, there are 8 of them in the screen. That's right, all 8 of them, and we're going to sell them off to you in a lineup I've kind of always wanted to do. I've always wanted to do this Asian 777 lineup, and this lineup is nearly complete. There's just a couple airlines I'm missing. Japan Airlines and China Eastern are the two big airlines I'm missing. There might be one or two others, but for the most part, this lineup is complete. Another one is China Airlines, but other than that, we pretty much got the lineup here. And yeah, we'll show you the lineup. We're going to show you every single international route that currently flies out of Burlington, Central Carolina, tell you about the frequency and everything you need to know about. So with that being said, let's get started with this video. First off in the lineup, we have this Thai Boeing 777-300ER, who is here from Bangkok. This is a 2 times weekly service on the 777-300ER. I'm really happy to have this one here, and it's one of my more recent 777 acquisitions, as most of these are, because I think I bought 9 333s in the last year and a couple months. So it's pretty cool to have this one in the fleet, and yeah, great to have this gorgeous purple and white bird here at the airport. This model is a Phoenix model aircraft. Next up, we have this China Southern 777-300ER, who is here from Guangzhou in China, which at some point in the last year was the busiest airport in the world. This is on 4 times weekly service to Burlington, Central Carolina, and this is an Aviation 400 model. It's a great model, gorgeous plane. They did a nice job making the plane, and the model is nice as well. And interesting enough, Burlington Central Carolina internationally now has about as many international flights as Boston and about as many Asian flights as Seattle. So we've been really increasing those Asian flights, mostly because those have been the models I've been buying, not really because of any other factor, just because I've been buying more Asian models, and this is one of them. Next up in the lineup, we have an Air China Boeing 777-300ER. This is an Aviation 400 model, and he is taxiing into his gate from Beijing Capital Airport. This is on the 5 times weekly service that Air China has from Beijing. It is really cool to have Air China, and believe it or not, this is actually my second Air China model. The very first one I got was all the way back in 2015. I believe I got that in July, and that was a GeMiJet 747-800. I had to get the model twice because the first time the model came broken through Amazon. I returned the model and then bought it. I want to say I bought through, I think it was Die-Cast Jets at the time, a dealer I do not recommend buying from, but that's where I got the model from, my first Air China model. This is my second one. This is a really nice model by Aviation 400, and one that I would highly recommend. An airline I'm really glad to bring to the airport is Cathay Pacific, and this is their 777-300ER, who is here from Hong Kong. Now they currently only serve BCI 2 times weekly, and that's mostly because of the geopolitical controversies and turmoil that's currently occurring in that region. This is another Aviation 400 model, and another great one. We have 3 Aviation 400 777s in a row, and that's actually my entire Aviation 400 777 fleet. And so yeah, it's really cool to have this one here. Another great model. This one is in, I believe, the 50th 777 sticker. It's kind of hard to see it there, but you can kind of see it behind the jet bridge. But yeah, great model. I picked this one up mostly because it's the regular livery plus that 50th 777, and this aircraft still does fly in the old livery. I believe they recently pulled it out of storage, and it does still have this livery, which is really cool. Next up, we have another 2 times weekly service, and that is on this EVA Air 777-300ER to Taiwan Taoyuan International Airport. This one is a JC Wings 777-300ER, great model, one that I've considered doing a review, and I want to, but you know, reviews have been kind of delayed on this channel till hopefully sometime soon. But yeah, I do want to bring the reviews back, but it's a nice model, great plane, and yeah, I really like this plane, and the route is really cool. Eventually China Airlines will join EVA Air, but yeah, Taiwan is a market that's been growing quite a bit, and it's great to have EVA Air join that market out of BCI. Next up, we have the Korean Air 777-300ER in the 50 Years of Excellence livery. This aircraft is here from Seoul, and this one is on a ton, and it's one of the 5 times weekly flights that Korean Air flies into the airport. This is a really cool route and a really cool plane, and as you can see, that is the flaps down variant by JC Wings, which is a really nice model. This one has the 50 Years of Excellence livery on it, which is really nice because it's not an intrusive special. It's a nice special that carries the airline's livery, branding on the special, and it mostly is the regular livery. So if I'm going to get a special livery for an international airline, I want to get one that's either one I really like or one that's not too intrusive on the regular livery, because usually I'm looking just for the regular livery. But this one's pretty nice, and it's really hard to get Korean Air models, and so I'm glad I picked this one up. And since this model was released, there still has not been a regular livery Korean Air model of a 777 released, so it's hard to find them. But yeah, this was it, and I'm glad to have it here in the collection. Next up, we have a model that I picked up at the exact same time as that Korean Air, and this is this All Nippon Airlines 777-300ER. This one is here from Tokyo Haneda, and it is a 777-300ER by Phoenix. Great model, really nice mold that Phoenix is currently using for the 777s. And yeah, great plane to add to the collection. Interesting enough, Delta solves both that Seoul route and the Tokyo Haneda route, which we'll see here later on, and those are both on the Airbus A350. And so these routes are very popular with ANA and Delta on the Tokyo, and Korean Air and Delta on the Seoul route. All Nippon also has seasonal service to Tokyo Narita. However, that service is currently suspended as of the moment. However, it will come back here in the November season when travel is expected to pick up for the holidays. Next up, we have the Air India Boeing 777-300ER, who is here for New Delhi. This is a 3 times weekly service, and this is the JC Wings Boeing 777-300ER. Now, believe it or not, this is one of the longest flights in the world, clocking in about 16 to 17 hours to go from Burlington, Central Carolina to New Delhi. You basically have to fly all the way around the world to get there. So, in reality, this is probably not a route that would ever occur, but I'm modeling it here because I want to sell this route anyway, and this is a great model. And I like the airline branding that Air India has. Now, this completes this row of 777 models. However, you can see in the bottom right corner, there is yet another Asian 777. Yes, I have 9 Asian 777-300ER routes, but I couldn't fit them all here, so I have 8 in a row. And that 9th one you will see here in a second, which is also one of the longest flights in the world. But yeah, it's really cool to have this line up, and I really appreciate you all for watching. Because of the fact that you guys watch this video, you watch the advertisements, it helps to pay for this collection, which I really, really appreciate. Next up, we have a new model. This is the Kalitta Air Boeing 777-300ER. Not 300ER, I've been saying 300ER a lot, so I got used to saying it, but this is a 777-200LRF. This aircraft came from Anchorage, and it'll be going out to Cincinnati. Kalitta Air is a new airline in the cargo segment here at BCI, and it will be operating for DHL under the Kalitta Air branding. It's really cool to have this plane in the collection, as are all the other 777s. And yeah, a bunch of new aircraft in this update compared to the last one, because the last one was all the way back in July, and a lot of these 777s are new since then. I think the Air China, the China Southern, the Thai, the EVA Air, and this one are all new since then. So quite a few 777s have come into the fleet, and it's really cool to have this one. Next up, we have this Delta Airbus A350, who is currently being towed over to the new maintenance base for the A350s here at BCI. Yes, BCI is now a maintenance facility for the Airbus A350s, for Delta in particular. And so this aircraft came in from Atlanta. Yes, we now have an Atlanta run for Delta on the Airbus A350. This aircraft comes in from Atlanta. The aircraft, if necessary, is towed over for maintenance. They do the walk overnight. The aircraft is towed back over in the morning, where the aircraft loads up and then goes back out to Atlanta. This is an operation that I'm very familiar with, because here at my local airport, we are an Endeavour Air maintenance base, so we'll get anywhere from 4 to 7 CRJs coming at night. A bunch of them get taken over for maintenance, and then the following morning, we marshal them back in, load them up, send them out. So that's an operation that I'm very familiar with, and it's one that they do a lot of airports, so I'm going to model it here for BCI. We do A350s and Boeing 757s for Delta Airlines. Next up, here we got this DHL Boeing 737-400. He came in from Cincinnati and it will be going out to St. Louis, which are DHL 737-400 routes operated by Southern Air. I told you about that one Asian flight that would be the last 777. Here it is. This is the Boeing 777-300ER for Singapore Airlines, coming in from Singapore Changi International Airport. This is in fact a once-a-day flight, so a 7 times weekly flight. Really cool to see them operating this, the longest flight in the world, at 21 hours long. It's quite an amazing flight. And because of how long this is, depending on the head or tail winds, that can change the length of the flight by about 3 to 4 hours each way, which is pretty incredible. But still, pretty amazing flight for this model airport, and I'm really happy to have this and the giant Asian lineup here at this airport. This is ironically one of my oldest 777-300ERs. In fact, I think it's my 3rd or 4th oldest, because my General Jet's BA744, sorry, not BA777, but the KLM 777 and the Etihad 777 are older than this one, and then I think my BA I got soon after this one. But yeah, this is one of the oldest 777s in my fleet. It's a Phoenix model, great model. They did recently do a re-release with the newer mold, which is better, which I might get at some point. But yeah, this is a nice model and a great addition to anyone's fleet if you're looking for a Singapore 777. Moving on over to the Delta terminal, and yes, Delta Airlines has their own terminal here at BCI now, thanks to this new layout, which is the same layout that I used for the Atlanta update. So you'll see 5 terminals, which is great because I can put more models on it. Here we see this Delta 737-900, who is here on a new route from Denver. Yes, since BCI is a Delta Airlines hub, they're adding more hub routes, and Denver is one of the ones that's been added on the 737-900. Next up, we got a Boeing 717-200 who came in from Detroit and will be going out to Jacksonville in Florida. Next up, the Delta Boeing 737-900 came in from San Francisco and will be going out to Orlando, which is an upgauge from an A319, which is really cool to see Boeing 737-900 service going to Orlando. Really cool to see Delta expanding out to more West Coast routes as well out of BCI, like San Francisco, like Denver that we saw earlier. So it's really cool to see Delta believing that BCI can be a big hub for them. Next up, we got a Boeing 737-800. This aircraft came in from Minneapolis and will be going out to Salt Lake City. Now, interestingly enough, this is a real route that occurs out of Des Moines. We have a flight come in from Minneapolis and going to Salt Lake City. And then we have a flight later in the day coming from Salt Lake City and going to Minneapolis. I just thought I'd add that as an aside. For us, that's an ERJ 175. But here, that's the 737-800. And today, it is in the gorgeous SkyTeam livery. Next up, we move over to the international terminal, where we have a Delta Airbus A350. This aircraft is here on her 7 times weekly service or once daily service from Amsterdam. And it's really cool to see this aircraft come in. This is the Delta Airbus A350, and I believe that is the NG models variant. Yes, that is the NG models variant. It's a great model, and it's great to see Delta serving Amsterdam from BCI. Next up, we have this Airbus A330-300, who is here on 7 times weekly service from Rome, which is also a once daily flight. Really cool to see this service coming into BCI, as this is new service for Delta Airlines, and it is great to see the A330 operating this route. Rome is one of the routes that Delta chose to return to BCI for international service because of pretty much the way how the pandemic has walked out has been causing certain countries to open up sooner than others. Italy needs desperately tourism. They need money, and so they've opened up their country to tourism, and those routes have been doing really well. It's a beautiful country to visit, and yeah, one I recommend if you can do it, and if you are, safe in how you do it, it will be a great visit for you. And yeah, one that I want to do at some point, but just not one I can do right now. And yeah, so Delta is really expanding internationally here post the pandemic, whereas the other main airlines, American, United, haven't done so much. Whereas United was huge internationally before the pandemic, right now they are not as much. So it's really interesting to see Delta expand. Speaking of countries that have opened up, what about this Delta 763 going to Athens, Greece? I don't believe I've ever had a flight to Athens out of BCI the entire 7 or 8 years I've been doing this airport. I started BCI in 2014, and I don't think I've ever had a flight to Athens, Greece, but here we go. Delta 4 times weekly service to Athens, Greece on the Boeing 767-300ER. The reason for this service is because Greece is one of the European countries that's opened up to foreign travelers. So a lot of people had decided to travel to Greece, and Delta is filling that need and that market by having a flight to BCI to go to Athens. Next up, we have this Delta Airbus A350, and he is here on a turn from Paris Charles de Gaulle. This is a 7 times weekly service on the Airbus A350. Now, Delta has had this route for a while. I believe previously it was on the 767 or the 777 pre-pandemic, but now post-pandemic, it is here on this gorgeous Airbus A350, as Delta has significantly expanded service out of BCI. And this is the Aviation 400 variant, which is a really nice version. And once my Delta A350 from Emirates comes soon, I will really be looking forward to doing a comparison. I actually have 2 coming. I was able to buy another variant of 502 Delta November, which that one has arrived, but I haven't unboxed it yet. And that one has antenna, so it'll be one that I can actually review and compare with the NG and the Aviation 400 variant. And I also have the Emirates Spirited Delta plane coming as well, with the flaps down. So I'll be adding 2 more A350s to the collection. That'll make 6, which should do me for the A350s. Don't really need any more after that. And so yeah, 6 Delta A350s. I don't know if too many people have that, but I have them. Parking next to the A350 and starting our regional collection, here we have the CRJ200, who's here on a turn from Asheville, North Carolina. This is a nice little hop that the CRJ200 flies over to Asheville. It's really short flight, about 20 minutes. Goes over to Asheville, then comes back to BCI. Our next CRJ aircraft is a 900, and this begins the lineup of 900s, and one of the many flights that is operated out of BCI. On the 900s, many of these are SkyWest flights, however some of them are Endeavour Air. This one came in from Knoxville, and it'll be going out to Portland, Maine. Very cool route. Really good to see that Delta is serving quite a few southern cities out of their secondary southern hub in BCI. Next up, we have the OG release Delta CRJ-900 from Emirates. This is an Endeavour Air one. Even though the models are Calm Air one, those are now operated by Endeavour Air. So I have this doing an Endeavour Air route, which is he came in from Newark LaGuardia, and he'll be going on to Washington Reagan National. The next CRJ-900 is another one, the November 8210 Sierra Kilo models, and so this is a SkyWest one, so we'll have him doing a SkyWest route. He came in from St. Louis, and he'll be going out to Birmingham, Alabama. Really cool model. I mean, yes, a bunch of these came broken, but it was the reality of the model, and I'm still happy to have them. And yes, I will be doing a model airport in the future where there are quite a few CRJ-900s. If you've been following layover layouts, he is actually starting to walk on that airport. And so yeah, hopefully you guys can see what that airport is here in the near future. The final CRJ-900 is another SkyWest one, and this one came in from Cleveland Hopkins. He'll be going out to Charlotte Douglas International Airport. Finally, we have the CRJ-700, who is about to get fueled as the fuel truck is just about to pull up. And he came in from Chattanooga, and he'll be going out to Des Moines, Iowa, which is a great airport, an airport that I work at. Next up, we have another new model. In fact, a lot of these models are new because the last time I did a BCI video was back in July, so I've gotten a ton of models since then. This is one of them, Delta 737-800 OG German Jets release. This one came in from Phoenix Sky Harbor and it'll be going out to San Diego. Both new routes for Delta Airlines, and they're both on the Boeing 737-800. Some of the other new models that you've seen this update since the July video would be the Delta 738S, both the A350s, the Delta A330, and all of the CRJ900. So all four of them would be new. So yeah, I've grown this collection quite a bit. I'm really happy with that. And I'm really happy to where the collection has gone to. The Pencil returns to Burlington Central Carolina as he's here on a turn from Atlanta as Delta Flight 7, and we're going out as Delta Flight 8. Another cool new addition to the airport is the Delta A320-300. He came in on a turn from Minneapolis. This is a new route, not a new route, but a new flight has been added. And I believe this is an early morning turn from Minneapolis, which is really cool to see. We are now moving on over to the other side of the airport, on the other board, where we have the same setup they had for Atlanta. We're going to start with the international terminal, and then we have two domestic terminals. Well, one is kind of a domestic terminal, mostly a domestic terminal with a couple of Star Alliance carriers internationally as well. But for the most part, two domestic terminals. You can see one there, the German Jets regional box is one, and then the international terminal. And so we'll get started with that. Starting over here, we have the KLM 777-300ER, who'll be going out to Amsterdam Schiphol. And that is a 7 times weekly service, and this is the Gemini Jets 333. I believe this was my very first 777-300 I ever acquired, which is a cool model. I'm really glad to have it in the fleet. And the 333 is an awesome aircraft that I've gained many more of. Now, I have every international airline that serves BCI sewn here, with one exception. I forgot to sew the Uzbek AR787. So just for now, we're just going to pretend for this episode that Uzbek Air is not serving the airport right now. But they're a cool airline, and I really like the model by JC Waynes that I have from them. Next up, we have the Air France Boeing 777-300ER, who is here from Paris Charles de Gaulle. This is 7 times weekly service. And one of the interesting things with the Paris service is that the Paris and Amsterdam flights are so popular out of BCI because those are some of the only places you can go to with fairly unrestricted travel. And so the Paris flight, which is really good to have Air France to the airport, and the Amsterdam service are ones that are very popular because of that. Amsterdam has been serving BCI for a long time, so it makes sense that's still here. And Air France has finally started serving BCI. They started serving this airport in 2021, which is the first time I have actually had an Air France model. That is right, I started collecting in Christmas of 2013, these model airplanes, and I went nearly 8 years without getting an Air France model. I know it's crazy, but I finally have one, and I have this one. This is the second one. I have an A350 as well, and I'm about to get 2 more Air France models. They're actually ready to be unboxed for mass unboxing number 10, and yeah, I'm looking forward to showing you guys those. But yeah, Air France, great airline, great addition to the airport. They have upgraded their route to 777-300ER. It used to be an Air France A350, but now it's the 333. Next up, we got the giant Emirates Airbus A380. This aircraft is here on his 4 times weekly service from Dubai. This is an awesome airplane, and it's really good that I now have an Emirates A380 in the 1/400 scale fleet. I have one in 1/200 scale, and OG viewers will know that is one of the very first models I ever got. And now I have the 1/400 variant by German Jets in the standard livery. Yes, it does have the Expo 2020, however, all Emirates aircraft currently have that sticker, so as a result, I will call it the current standard livery. But even still, eventually when the Expo is over and Emirates repaints all the aircraft back into the regular livery without the Expo sticker, this is still a pretty cool model and an almost regular livery A380. So it works great for the purpose of being used as a regular livery A380. And the German Jets A380 mold is actually not that bad. This is my first time trying it. and it's actually pretty decent. The model is actually really solid, and considering it's the Gemmajet's model, the detail and the accuracy on it seem to actually be pretty good. Next up, we have the Qatar Airways Airbus A350, who is here on her 5 times weekly service from Doha. This is my very first A350 model I ever got from Gemmajet, and I believe they were the very first to release a Qatar A350. I will be getting the NG models variant of this aircraft here in the near future, and so that'll be a nice addition to my collection. But for the meantime, this Gemmajet one is a great model. I saw the Qatar A350 in Atlanta on the flight from Doha, and it's such a beautiful airplane. Next up, we have the Virgin Atlantic Boeing 787-9. He is here on her 5 times weekly service from London Gatwick. This is a very nice plane and a nice addition to the collection, one I've had for a long time as well. I believe this was the second release Virgin Atlantic 789 from Gemmajet, and they've now had 4 releases of this model. It's been a very popular and high demand model, so Gemmajet has made a lot of them, which makes sense. The final aircraft over here at this international terminal is the Royal Jordanian 787-8. This is a new model for the BCI airport and a new airline. Royal Jordanian will be flying 2 times weekly service to Amman, which is the capital of Jordan. And this is a nice model here by Gemmajet. Actually a really good job by them on this 787. It does have some wing flex, not as bad as some of the older models, but it is still there. Obviously, Royal Jordanian is a great airline with an amazing livery. I really like the look of the livery. It definitely has that royal feel to it, as I don't know who owns this airline. It might still be owned by the royal family, but it still definitely has that royal look to it, and it's definitely a look that I'm a huge fan of. Next up, we got the Fedex Md11f. This aircraft came in from Memphis, and it'll be going out to Indianapolis. This is another new model to BCI, as many of these are, including like the Emirates A380, the Air France 333, the Royal Jordanian 787, and many others. Next up, we got the Alaska Airlines Boeing 737-900. He's here on a turn from Seattle, and he is currently taxiing out for his return flight. Next up in the lineup, we got the UPS 763, who came in from Norfolk, and we're going out to Philadelphia. This lineup is in between the international terminal and the small regional jet boxes terminal. So now at the maximum zoom of this camera of 30x, even though this plane is only about 3 feet away from where the camera is standing, because of how small it is and the distance, it is maximum zoom. That's about as close in as I can get. This aircraft came in from Reagan National Airport. Actually, no, not Reagan. I want him to go to Austin, Texas. So he came in from New York LaGuardia, and we're going out to Austin, Texas, which is new service for American Eagle. Yes, I am using US Airways E170 because I do not have an American Eagle one yet. The final aircraft in this lineup is this Delta Airbus A350, who is here from Seoul, Incheon. That is 4 times weekly service on the Delta Airbus A350 to Burlington Central Carolina. Over at the box terminal, here we have an Air Canada CRJ-900 who came in from Toronto and will be going out to Montreal. Air Canada is back at the airport, and they have the 2 routes, Montreal and Toronto, and they're both solved on the CRJ-900LR. A couple of other new American routes out of BCI are on this ERJ-170. We have the return of Pittsburgh service, as he came in from Pittsburgh, and then he'll be going out to Nashville, which is new service to compete with the existing Delta connection and Southwest Airlines service on that route. Next up, we got the American 737-800 in the Air Cal livery. He came in from Charlotte Douglas and will be going out to Chicago O'Hare, which this flight is upgauge from the A319. Next up, we got an American A320 who came in from Dallas Fort Worth and will be going out to Phoenix Sky Harbor. Next up, we got the Alaska Airlines Boeing 737-900 in the One World livery. This aircraft is also going to Seattle, just like the other one was. And I'm selling both the 739s because I wanted to, and there are 2 daily flights to Seattle. And of course, I'm selling both of these because I want to sell the new NG 739s. Great mold, great model. If you're looking for 737-900, NG mold makes the best variant. Here we have the WestJet 737-800 from Calgary. Now, Calgary service is returning for WestJet, and WestJet is back at BCI. And this is a great model by NG. This was from the November release set. And I also want to thank Funny Airplane Models for sending me this airplane for free to do a video on, which I did, and I will do a review on it as well. Next up, we got this Frontier A320 Neo, who is here on a turn from Teterboro. This one is in the colored lizard livery, which is an awesome airplane, and this is a nice model by Aero Classics. And interestingly enough, I saw this exact airplane at Des Moines, and he was parked at Charlie 1 just outside of our Delta Ops. And I didn't get a picture of it because obviously we're not allowed to do that sort of thing when we're walking on the ramp. It was really cool to see Sunny the colored lizard literally just outside of Ops, right at the gate. It was really cool to see that, and a nice model of it by Aero Classics. Next, we got Steve the Eagle, an aircraft I have also seen in real life. I saw this one in Atlanta. This aircraft came in from Philadelphia and will be going out to Denver. Good to see that Frontier is returning to normal service at BCI like most airlines have. Over on the other side of the terminal, across from the Frontier gates, we have this Allegiant A320. He is here on new service from Houston Hobby and will be going out on a new service to Fort Lauderdale. Pretty cool to see that Allegiant is serving those routes. Next up, we got the JetBlue Airbus A320, who came in from Fort Lauderdale, and it'll be going out to Tampa, which is new service for JetBlue out of BCI. Next up, we got the Spirit Airbus A321, and Spirit is still operating fairly limited services out of BCI. This aircraft came in from Baltimore, and it'll be going out to Las Vegas. They do have a lot of routes, I think it's like 6 or 8, but they are not operating every day. They operate more like, say, 4 times weekly, but eventually Spirit is planning to bring more regular service to BCI. Alaska Airlines isn't just serving Seattle, but they are also serving 2 other routes. They have returned to serving Portland on the 737-800, which is where this aircraft came in from, in the Spirit of Seattle livery. But they're also serving San Diego, which is where this aircraft is about to head out to. So it's really good to see new services being offered on Alaska Airlines and the return of Portland service. Next up, we got the American Eagle CRJ-900. So at this terminal, I do have the airlines parked in a staggered setup. So for example, the 2 Alaska Airlines are parked across from each other on the terminal, as are the American gates, which are up here. And over here we have this American CRJ-900, who came in from Philadelphia, which is great to see the CR9 back on that route. And then he'll be going out to a new service to Tulsa, Oklahoma, which I know is a route that Red River Aviation will be very happy about. The second of 3 CRJ-900s I have in my collection is shown here. The jet bridge has just pulled back, and this aircraft will be about to push back on his turn to Washington Reagan National Airport. Welcome, Valoris, to the airport. Here we have this Valoris Airbus A321 Neo, who is here from Guadalajara on his inaugural flight. Really good to see Valoris here at the airport, and they're flying the Airbus A321 Neo, so they definitely have confidence that this route will do really well. This particular model is the parts bin special known as the Gemini Jets Airbus A321 Neo. This was a September 2020 release, if I remember correctly, and this one is famous for coming broken, and this one is a model I bought for really cheap from a retailer. The model had come completely destroyed. I believe it came in something like 8 or 9 different pieces. He glued it back together the best he could, shipped it to me, and I got a really good deal on it. So it's a nice model to have the collection, and really glad to have a Valoris model. Next up, we have the lineup between the terminal with the regional jet boxes and the United Slant Southwest terminal. Here we have a Southwest 737-800 who's taxiing out to the active runway. This is the special Heart 1 livery made by Jordanian Jets in 2015. This aircraft came in from St. Louis and is now taxiing out for a flight out to New Orleans. Next up, we have a United ERJ-170 who's taxiing from Chicago, Ohio. After he drops off his passengers and bags, they'll load him up and send him out to Houston George Bush Intercontinental. Next up in the lineup, here is the Southwest 737 MAX 8, taxiing out to Las Vegas, and came in from Baltimore earlier. Over here we have a United CRJ-200 in new livery. This is another new addition since the last update, and this one is here on a turn for Washington Dulles. I believe we added 2 Dulles flights, both on the 200s, unfortunately, and these are basically just added flights to help with the current capacity needs. Next up, we got the Southwest 737-700 in the classic livery. This aircraft came in from Bradley International, which is a new route, and he's currently taxiing out to Washington Reagan National. And the final aircraft in the lineup is the Southwest 737-700 in the Colorado 1 livery. This guy's taxiing in from Detroit, which is a new route for Southwest. He'll be going into the gate, and then later he'll head out to Miami. Burlington Central Carolina was one of the first routes that Southwest added to Miami. It was in the first wave of routes. I believe it was one of the first 7 or so, which is really cool to see that BCI is getting inaugural Southwest services. Over here at the United Star Alliance terminal, we have a couple of Star Alliance carriers. We got Lufthansa and Swiss. The Swiss A330 is here from Zurich on her 4 times weekly service. Great model by NG Models, and as you can see, the next model behind it is also an NG Models of the same aircraft type. NG makes fantastic A330 models, and the Swiss, I gave it a 99 out of 100. I had to take a point off because the horizontal stabilizer closest to you there on the port side came out, and so I had to remove 1 point because of that. But other than that, it's basically the perfect model airplane, and so I can't wait to do a review on the Lufthansa to see if that also scores a perfect score. Next up, we got the Lufthansa Airbus A330 here from Frankfurt on the 7 times weekly service, or once daily. It is really cool to have a Lufthansa Airbus A330 finally here, because these do fly into Atlanta, so I can put them in the Atlanta updates. And this model is really nice. One thing is that because Lufthansa has downsized because of the pandemic, they're operating A330s. However, pre-pandemic, we would have 3 flights a day. We would have, I believe it was the A343, that's not 300, but 600, and the 747-400 to Munich, and the 747-800 to Frankfurt, and so that was really cool. Now we're just down to the A330 to Frankfurt. However, I do expect Munich service at some point to return, and for the Frankfurt flight to get upgauged or to have more frequency. We'll see what happens there. Next up, we have a really cool site provided by NG Models. We got the 737-800 in Evo Blue livery and the 737-700 in the Evo Blue livery. The 800 is on a turn from San Francisco, and the 700 is on a turn from Newark. I can't wait to get my 900 and then line up the 700, 800, and 900 all together. That will look so cool, all from NG and in their excellent 737 mold. Next up, we can see a very nice comparison between the color of the Journeyjet Southwest 737 and the Panda. So you can tell the Panda is too light and the Journeyjet is a bit too dark. I did just get the new Panda. That'll be in Mass Unboxing 9 that you'll see hopefully this coming week. And that has the correct color on it. But meanwhile, this aircraft came in from San Francisco, which is a new route for Southwest to BCI, and it'll be going out to Oakland, California. And the Panda version, which is now in focus, he came in from Nashville, and it'll be going out to Orlando. Next up, we got a Southwest 737-800. This is the NG Models variant, and I'm just realizing that is not 800, that is a 700. But he came in from Mexico City, and it'll be going out to West Palm Beach. This is the NG 700 that came out this year. It was the very first 700 ever released, along with that United Continental Globe 700, which we'll see here in a moment. But those are both nice models, and the mold has been really good with very limited number of issues. I know some people did have a couple issues with the Southwest Canyon Blue model. Fortunately, I did not, and it seems like those issues were fairly limited, and for the most part, people have not had issues with the new NG Models 700 and 900 molds, which have been very good. Next up, we have more new routes here on Tennessee 1. This aircraft came in from Seattle, and it'll be going out to Columbus, Ohio, both new routes for Southwest Airlines out of BCI. Next up, we got the Southwest 737-800. This is the Journeyjet variant. This aircraft came in from Punta Cana, and it'll be going out to Cancun, casting in on those southern routes to more warm destinations, particularly this time of year. It's going to be something you're going to see quite a bit. The next Southwest 737-800 is in the Canyon Blue livery by NG Models. This one came in from San Antonio, and it'll be going out to Kansas City. Finally, we have a Southwest 737-800 in the Heart livery by NG Models. This aircraft came in from Washington Reagan National, and it'll be going out to Denver. Next up, we got the second model released alongside the Southwest Canyon Blue 700. This is the United 737-700. These were the first 2 models released by NG Models that were 737-700s, and they both had split skin tower winglets. This aircraft will have him coming in from Washington Dulles, and he is currently loading up for a flight out to Houston George Bush Intercontinental. Next up, we have a model that hasn't been shown on the channel for a while. This is the United Eco Skies 737-900. I did show it in the last Raleigh update, But other than that, it's been about a year since this model shown up in a video. I used to show this on the old Citrus Aviation channel quite a bit in my airport updates, but you know, I thought I'd bring it back out because it's an awesome model in the Eco Skies livery, and this plane did come in Des Moines. I did see it at the gate. I believe it was over at Alpha 5 when I was walking over to my station one morning. It was really cool to see the plane. Nice plane, and this aircraft came in from Chicago O'Hare, and then he'll be going out to Denver. Next up, we got the United 757-200 in the Hot Oil here, California livery. This is the Gemini-Jet variant. I did just recently pick up the NG variant of both the San Francisco and the New York plane, and I will be unboxing those in mass unboxing number 10, which will have 50 plus models in it, so that'll be really awesome. But in the meantime, we are going to use the Gemini-Jet variant. This aircraft is here on a turn for Newark. This is the only 757-200 route currently out of BCI for United Airlines. The final plane for the video is also United's only international route out of BCI. It is the 787-10 flying to Frankfurt. This aircraft is replacing the 777-200 on this route and is now on the 787-10 for more efficiency and cost savings. This aircraft is also a great plane to fly on. It's really cool to have this plane here at BCI. In potential future routes, United might bring back service to London Heathrow, Paris, and of course Tokyo Narita, and possibly Honolulu. It'll be really interesting to see if they also bring Sao Paulo service back. But yeah, United is currently just operating the one international route, and yeah, that is pretty much it for this model airport update. I did not do any routes in this one. I don't even know if I have routes anymore to BCI for subscriber routes. I think there have been a couple requested, but I don't remember what they were. Leave them in the comments below and I'll try to write them down and put them in the December update, which, speaking of which, December updates will be unique as those will be all retro updates. For every airport I do, I will do a retro update version just for December as a fun little something different to do at the airport. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you for watching, have a great rest of your day, and God bless you.